Yesterday, after having spent Friday morning, I got up early. In fact, we left Memphis about 4:45 to take my daughter Shelly back to school. Shelly and I drove to Chattanooga, spent most of the day getting the car unloaded and her storage unit unloaded and everything into her room. Thank goodness this year her dorm has elevators. Getting everything put away, and she's still working on it. And then yesterday I even ended up helping a couple of her friends move in. But as I got in the car and started to drive back from Chattanooga to Memphis, one of the things that I began to notice is I was getting sleepy. And I knew with the 5-hour drive that I had that I couldn't afford to go to sleep right then. I used to joke with a friend when I would drive long trips, and they'd say, well, be careful and all of that. I'd say, that's fine, I'm going to get some sleep along the way. But yesterday I knew that the worst thing I could do was sleep driving by myself. The two things just don't work. And so I was in search of coffee, and I will be honest and admit, the coffee that whenever I have the chance to drink is Starbucks. I know some people make fun of Starbucks or talk about Starbucks or downgrade Starbucks. I just happen to like Starbucks, and I'm not one of those people who talk about a $6 cup of coffee and everything. All I need is just a simple basic coffee with some heavy cream and some raw sugar, and I'm good to go. But I had already left Chattanooga and the Starbucks that they have there, and as I was driving along, wondering where there might be a Starbucks, and as I was going on the expressway, I happened to see, after I had already passed the exit, a sign for a Starbucks, and I said, well, maybe I'll get to the next exit and turn around, but the next exit was 5 miles away. So I said, I'm just going to keep on going because I know Murfreesboro is coming up soon, and I'll be able to stop in Murfreesboro, and I'm going to find a Starbucks. So I pulled off into Murfreesboro, and the thing of it is that because I told you I'm a Starbucks fan, I have a Starbucks app on my phone. So I stopped and I pulled the app out, and I let it find me, location where I was, and it directed me to a Starbucks, so I got my coffee. And as I looked on that experience and the fact that I was able to stop, I was able to use what was available to me, and it directed me to where I needed to go to get my coffee fixed. It made me think about the theme for the month where we talk about infinite but particular, and the fact of the matter is that it's much like that we are a part of a greater system, if you will. We are part of something that is more than we are, that is greater than we are, but it also, because we are connected to that, it affords us the experience and the opportunities to do what we need to do and have the information that we need available to us if we only would take the time first to become still. Because the thing that I know about that app and all of that is that you don't want to be fiddling with your phone while you're driving to try to find something. So the first thing that I did is that I pulled over into a gas station once I got off the exit there in Murfreesboro, and I turned the app on at that point. And what it says to me also, what we have to do in life, that as we are moving down the highway of life, if you will, is to take the time every now and then to stop, to pull over, to be still, and then to allow the information that's available to come to us. Because when I opened that app, the thing of it is, lo and behold, I figured they would have at least one Starbucks in Murfreesboro, but no. There were many different Starbucks that were available as soon as I opened the app, and I discovered that they were there and that I could have access to any one of them because it was going to guide me there. And you've heard me say this before, and it's important to remember that when we take the time to be still, when we take the time, even in the midst of the hustle and bustle of life, to turn within and to focus for a moment, what we were looking for as one solution and one answer, many times we will discover that we have all of a sudden all of these options and all of these choices that begin to reveal themselves to us that we never would have known if we had not taken the time to what? To stop, to be still, to focus. And so when I stopped and I allowed myself to be still and to focus, it made all the difference in the world. The second thing that I thought about this whole experience and how it relates to life is the fact that that GPS and that app didn't care where I had been. It didn't care how long I had been there or anything like that. It simply, when I made myself available, made itself available. We have an expression that we like to use in New Thought that came from Judge Thomas Trauer that said, principle is not bound by precedent. Principle is not bound by precedent. And what that really means is no matter what we might have been doing in the past, no matter how we might have been living our life, no matter what might have happened before, that in that moment when we make a decision, whatever again we need becomes available to us. It's one of the ways that we oftentimes help people to understand who have come up in an environment where they want to make people feel bad and beat them up for their past sins and how you are a miserable sinner and those kinds of things, and God's not going to bless you unless you do this or unless you do that. But the fact of the matter is, because principle of God is not bound by precedent, it doesn't matter what might have happened before. Doesn't matter what happened in the past, that in that very moment that we make the decision, we make ourselves available, it all opens up to us. And you know, as I began to think about this whole idea of having that technology, that GPS technology available to us, what it also made me think about is the fact that it's very much like our intuition or our inner knowing, in that we get direction and we get guidance from there. My life coaching teacher, Tim Brownson, says, but the fact of the matter is that when you ask most people how often they listen to their inner knowing, their gut instinct, or your intuition, most people will say, well, not very often, or not much at all. But the thing of it is that it's there. It's another way we talk about it oftentimes is our unconscious mind. And our unconscious mind is available to us all the time. As a matter of fact, our unconscious mind, it is more powerful and it works better than our conscious mind does. Because you see, our conscious mind, we've learned, can only process a few bits of information at a time. It can only process most people can do maybe 2 things well, and some people can do maybe 4 or 5 things well, but they're a rarity. So multitasking is a myth. People talk about, well, I'm a great multitasker, and usually what happens is multitaskers end up not doing many things very well at all. So what happens is we get caught up, though, in the idea that I'm a multitasker, and we feel like that, but we are bombarded by thousands of bits of information at every moment. What's happening in this room, the things that are happening. You're bombarded by the information that's in this room, not just me talking, but the lights that are in here, the sounds that are here, the smells that are here, the energy from other people, all of this. But our conscious mind can only focus on a couple of those things, so it shuts everything else out. So right now, while you're hopefully listening to me and listening to what it is that I am saying, you're not thinking about your right foot. Except until now. Because it does that. But our subconscious mind, on the other hand, is always processing information. It's always taking in things. As we are in situations and circumstances, it's at work. It's processing, it's looking, it's understanding things. Malcolm Gladwell, in his book, Blink, talks about how we are able to make instantaneous decisions, and things that would seem like they would be just, coincidences or things like that are actually the process of all of the information that we had in the past that ultimately at that particular moment makes itself available to allow us in the spur of the moment to make certain decisions. He talks about, in his book, a story in particular that I remember is a firefighter in Cleveland where they had been called to put a house fire out. They walk into the house with their hoses and they start spraying the fire that seems to be in the kitchen, but it's not responding like it's supposed to. And just at that moment, he orders everybody out. And as soon as they pull themselves back out of the house, the floor to the house collapses. Because what had actually happened, the fire was in the basement, even though it appeared to be in the kitchen. And had they stayed there a moment longer, they would have been with the collapse and would have lost their lives. Now, he spent a lot of time thinking that it was his ESP or whatever else that was causing that to happen, but ultimately, as they began to examine what was going on, his subconscious took bits of information from things that he knew before. Number one, that the fire wasn't responding to the water the way that it was supposed to be. The second thing is that it was unusually quiet when there should have been a lot of noise with all of the things that were going on. And then the third thing, it was abnormally hot. And all of that information working together suddenly led him to make the decision, something's not right. Let's get out. And the thing of it is that as they did that, it allowed them to do that. And you all have that same ability. You have your subconscious working all the time. That as you are in the midst of life and relationships and experiences and all of that, it's available to you. You are able to access it and process it and get where you need to go. And again, a very easy thing to do is because people say, well, you know, all of that's happening and how do I do this and how do I do that? First of all, I'm not saying anything new. It comes back to being able to cultivate the power to be still, to be open and available to the expression of spirit, however it expresses itself. And it doesn't mean, again, that we have to spend long hours in meditation. Meditation is great, but oftentimes just taking a moment to pause, allow ourselves to breathe for a moment and be in the present moment, that all that we need is available right then. You know, I used to get sometimes, because I go through periods in my life where I'm an avid meditator and I meditate and I'm very, very, very good about it and I do it every day and I'm motivated to do it. And then there are other times where I'll find all kinds of excuses, or I'm gonna get to it later on in the day. And I used to beat myself up for it. I used to go, man, I need to do better meditating. I'm telling everybody else to meditate and I ain't meditating. But then I discovered that if I just take a moment and just focus, allow myself to be still, allow myself to be in the present moment, that what I need to know is available. What I need to experience is available. Principle is not bound by precedent. There is no God that's out there saying, well, you haven't meditated in 3 months. How can you expect to hear from me now? Bless in that moment when we practice what Psalm 46:10 reminds us, to be still and know that I am God. Eknath Ezewan, always call upon that, it's a tongue twister. There's a practice, and I've shared it with you before here at Open Heart, that uses that song to reinforce what it means to know the real and true meaning of be still and know that I am God. So I want you to, I know preachers say as I close, as I close to join me in this exercise. And if you will, if everyone will just take a moment, and as we close our eyes together, and as we take in a breath, release that breath, and as you hear my voice, remind you to be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and be still. Be. And as we prepare to open our eyes, and as I close this message, rather than us clapping or offering whatever response, let's just greet the moment with this continued silence and awareness and knowing. And so it is. And so it is. And know, and wherever you need to be, you can get here. You can get there from here.
universe. And that is God. And as each of us embodies all that we have learned today, take it in, we make it our own, and we use it in our lives. We give thanks for all that have participated today. We give thanks for the music. We give thanks for the fellowship. We give thanks for the centering. We give thanks for the energy that each one of us has brought today. Knowing that as we go forward, that our first step is to be still. And allowing the presence of God to speak. Moving forward, knowing that that which was spoken to us already is. We follow those directions. Let go. As we move forward into our week, we take Psalms 46:10 with us. Be still and know that I